Welcome to the So Late It's Early show. Thank you for joining us again. We enjoyed our vacation very much, thank you. At least I did. And a lot happened while we were gone. Spring has finally arrived and that endless winter finally left us. I hope you're all enjoying the weather. Of course, with spring come the boys of summer, and our Red Sox seem to be confused, however. They started the season playing it like it was the end of the season, and they were a game away from clinching the American League Championship. Fortunately, they have started winning.
So thank you, Commissioner Seelig, for allowing the pros to play against Little Leaguers. In entertainment news, Lady Gaga is considering legal action against a cafe that is selling a drink called Baby Gaga Breast Milkshake. A spokesperson for the cafe says, "Don't worry, like you, we're borrowing a 20-year-old sample from Madonna." Elton John and his partner David Furnish have adopted a son, and they chose, wait for it, Lady Gaga as the godmother. It's a healthy little boy blessed with 4 or 5 names, depending on how you count them. Zachary, Jackson, Levon, Furnish, John. The last name is hyphenated.
Last time I furnished my John, I got my whole bathroom redone. Oh, in a related story, Democrats and Republicans actually agreed to a budget.
You mean a temporary spending bill, Bernie? And how in the world would the crisis be related to the adoption?
Yes, Paul, a temporary spending bill. And polls indicate most Americans hope it's only temporary insanity, which is also kind of related.
Go on. Explain.
Well, okay, you see, by choosing Lady Gaga as godmother, the logical choice for godfather was either Mel Gibson or Charlie Sheen.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, but you see, Charlie had to decline so he could do his part to help cut government spending.
And just how is he going to do that?
Well, an assistant secretary of defense came up with the idea of drafting Charlie Sheen and having him bomb in Libya when he's finished bombing in the U.S. It'll save us billions over 15 years, folks.
Oh, that reminds me. This letter just came in for you from the Department of Defense.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me a second. Blah, 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 blah. On that note, we better get to our guest. And today's guest will be of interest to anyone who's interested in entering show business. Bob Ryan and Phyllis St. George are both indie film producers. Bob also works at Channel 57.
Indie films are great. They have actually become kind of the community theater,
I would say that,
of filming. And they have the potential of being seen by billions of people.
Unlike just an auditorium full of your friends and neighbors who will lie to you about how good you are and talk you into going to Hollywood, where you'll end up washing dishes for the likes of Charlie Sheen, Mel Gibson, and Lady Gaga.
Anyway, in indie film, you probably don't get paid, but you do get a free lunch and usually have a great time. We'll talk to our first guest, Phyllis St. George, right after this break.
Welcome back. We're here with our first guest, Phyllis St. George, who, as we mentioned, is an indie film producer. Phyllis likes to concentrate on short films. Basically, I have 2 projects. One is just done, finished, called Plastics, ran about 7 minutes, if I understand, and she's working on one called The Therapy Killings, which will be an interesting one to see. When did you decide to start producing films?
Well, I've had the script for Plastics in my head for quite a few years, and then I met Bob Ryan. A friend of mine knew Bob was starting a production studio, and that he was looking for people that wanted to produce their work. And Bob called me a number of times and gently reminded me that I told him I had a project. And so I said, this is it. This means that I am going to produce it. And I was doing the book called Artist's Way by Julie Cameron, which helps artists break through their creative blocks. And that helped me get motivated to produce the film.
Okay, how long did it take you to start shooting plastics from the time you decided to go ahead with it?
Okay, I wrote the script in early 2010. I put the script down on paper. It was in my head for a while. And then we had our first production meeting April 24th of last year. And then our last shoot was June 17th. We did our woods scene with the death. And so we had like 3 or 4 days of shooting interspersed in there. So it took a couple months. And it was mainly scheduling because everybody had day jobs or school or something else to do.
And it's one of the issues of working with sort of unpaid volunteer talent is how do you schedule everybody? And what did you learn in shooting plastic that's hopefully helping you now in the current project, Therapy Killings? Anything?
Well, I've learned not to rush a shoot, to make sure that you get every shot you want. We also use a clipboard and mark what shots are good, which ones we want to keep, which ones we don't. Because when you go back to edit, you can't always remember which shot it was and which ones what you were trying to do, because we would reshoot in plastics with an intention of fixing something or looking at something a little differently, but we wouldn't have notes on what we were doing. I have a director of photography in the Therapy Killings, and he makes meticulous notes on which are takes and what we're trying to do with each shot. We had a shot list in plastics, but in Therapy Killings, we have an extensive shot list, and like I said, we do a checklist, and we say which ones to go, which ones.
Basically, you learn to do more preparation
and more follow-through on the shots, and I look at the shots after each scene.
No, just another question. You've worked with both unionized and non-unionized talent, and you don't pay. How do you get away with not paying union people from SAG or AFTRA?
I had to contact SAG to find out what my requirements were, because Therapy Killings has 2 SAG actors. And they explained that with a low-budget film like a short film, if your budget was under $50,000 and the film was under 30 minutes, and you were only going to be sending the film to film festivals, then you did not have to pay the actors and actresses, but you did have to provide them meals and reimburse them for their mileage.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll be back after this break with Bob Ryan.
All right, welcome back to the show. And our second guest today, I'd like to introduce Bob Ryan. How you doing, Bob?
Great. Thanks, guys, for having me on the show today.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. So, you're doing a film called Apremont: The Beginnings. How long did the film take to shoot?
About 5 months, and most of the time it was just like 1 day a week, that in between everybody's busy schedules. And then it was a couple weeks we did like weekend shoots.
Did you expect it to actually take that long? Did you have that kind of planned into to the production?
I thought it would maybe have been done maybe a month earlier, but like other people had told me it would take years to do, and we wound up with a great team, and we got it done. And, you know, we're in the process of editing it now.
Well, that's good. So you were able to take your time and get all the shots and stuff that you wanted. All right, that's good. So once that's finished, do you have another film lined up?
I don't have a film right now. I do have a couple scripts from a woman in Shelburne Falls that we'll be producing. We've been helping Phyllis St. George with her projects, and I have a couple TV shows that we're shooting right now as well.
Okay, so you have nothing in the immediate future to actually to start planning, to start shooting rather.
No, the movie itself is a prequel to a book one of our producers, Stephen Lewis Patrick, wrote. So our other producers are hinting that they want to produce that, so we're going to be talking about that soon.
All right, well, that'd be good. So Bernie mentioned earlier that you work for Channel 57?
Yes.
How has your work helped or hurt your film producing work?
It's helped in many ways. I started there in '95 in the production internship, so I learned like from one of the best stations around, Keith Clark, Bill Rhodes. They were wonderful, and still to this day, if I have questions on anything, they're right there to help me out or give suggestions. And with my boss, I work in master control, so he's been pretty cool about giving me the time I need if we have any type of shoot on the weekend or switch my schedule around.
So is it true what they say about it's more like the connections that you make in this industry that really help with all the projects?
Definitely.
So you like working with the same team from project to project?
Yes. And we like to include more. We're always welcoming new people on board, fresher ideas, and it's a constant learning experience. We learn off of each other and grow. And
well, that's good. That's good. So it helps for everybody.
yes.
So with your film, Apremont: The Beginnings, you had a rather large cast. About how many actors appeared in the movie?
About 25 actors. There were more characters, but we wound up, certain people played multiple characters. Due to it being volunteer, sometimes people didn't show up, so some people had to, we had to shoot somebody else from behind, or somebody else had to step in as one of the characters. So that's interesting.
With the film that being an indie film and not having any kind of budget to pay the actors, do you find that happens, that people just don't show up on set?
Yes, we had actually started casting and shooting maybe 4 years ago, and that's what happened then. But miracle, we got a great crew, Bernie, Phyllis, and a lot of other people that came on board, and most of them stayed till the end. And then I still have a few that we work on the other projects together, and then the paying gigs in between.
All right.
But you got to definitely feed them.
That's great.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
That is all the time we have for tonight. Tune in tomorrow with our guest host, Sarah Palin, and her guests, Lady Gaga, Mel Gibson, and Charlie Sheen. Good night, everybody.